YouTube. It is about 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and Maggie and I are on our way into work. So, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. This beautiful day. It's actually really nice outside. It's 39 degrees, and yeah, it's nice outside, right? And it's funny to say because it is pretty chilly out. But, yeah. So, you've heard of Murphy's Law. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But it's one of those things where, oops, turn this off here, turn off. It's one of those things that gets you every once in a while, I think. You know? How? Who knows? I mean, you do your best to prepare for, for it to not to happen, to mitigate the risks, and make sure things go smoothly for you in whatever you're doing. And so Murphy's Law got me yesterday. Remember that backpack that I repaired? Yeah. Now, the repair did not fail, but the zipper on the battery did, the zipper on the backpack did. For the main compartment. I flung it onto my back like I normally do. Oh, neat. Take a look at what's going on in front of us. They're tearing down the roof of this house. Or re-shingling it. Pretty cool. But bring it back here. Whew! Yes, a beautiful morning it is for another DriveStream. And Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law basically states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And when was the last time Murphy's Law got you? Mine was yesterday morning. I flung the backpack that I had just repaired onto my pack with all of my gear in it. And it wasn't loaded down completely, but the zipper had not zipped. For some reason, the teeth at the beginning of the zip, they didn't engage with each other, because the zipper does this, right? It didn't engage at the very beginning, so there was that tiny little gap, which basically went, the whole thing just opened up. My drone was on the ground, my papers were on the ground, the microphone was on everything was on the ground. And I was like, no freaking way. And yeah, so that's something that went wrong, And not only did it go wrong, that which can go wrong, it went wrong at the worst possible time, right? I guess that's in addition to that's Murphy's Law 2.0, 1.2, version B, advanced Murphy's Law. But I guess Murphy's Law, it's one of those things where it's just, yeah, if it can go wrong, it can go wrong. Well, if it could go right, it could go right also, right? I mean, what's the other side of that coin? Anything that can go right will go right. Anything that can be right will go wrong. I guess it just depends on one's outlook on any situation. All right. And we armchair quarterback all the time. Oh, or we make the play or make the call or talk about whatever, do an after-action report after the fact. But what we do also is we do our best to prevent that which can go wrong or to mitigate the risk, so when it does go wrong, that wrong is not so detrimental. In the military, we call that operational risk assessment, operational risk management, where you take the steps necessary, you identify what the risks are, what the dangers are, and then you plan for that danger to not occur, or if that danger will occur, to minimize loss, right? in this case, you know, I mean, did I know the zipper was going to bust open? No. Could I have prevented it? Couple ways. For that backpack, I mean, it's an old backpack, right? Shen, good morning. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. Dong Solano vlog, thanks for joining as well. Appreciate you guys just hanging out, listening to me talk a little bit about Murphy's Law. You know, because, I mean, my backpack, it blew up open yesterday, right? It opened up completely, and everything was on the floor. And what could I have done to prevent that from occurring in the first place, right? Maybe I could have, number one, made sure that the zipper was engaged, right? Instead of just zipping it and taking for granted that it was working, I said, hey, you know, let's go ahead and make sure that the zipper is actually closed, right? Why? To make sure it's actually closed, right? I mean, one of those things where shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know, should have done this, I could have done that, I would have done this, you know, but I could mitigate this additionally. So not only should I have made sure that the zipper was engaged, maybe I could have tried to pull it open to make sure that it's working also. Stephen Wire, good morning. Thanks for joining. What'd you say here? The brain is wired for survival, and 75% of it is geared toward recognizing the negative things as those are a threat to survival. That leads to people thinking bad things happen more often. Interesting. Yeah, no. And it's a way of thinking. And like you said, way of survival, way to mitigate those risks, right? I mean, why not? And that's okay. It's not that one is a negative person. It's, hey, we're thinking good thing. We're thinking of the bad things so that we can ensure we stay in the good, right? So, Kahabagat TV. Good morning. Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you, bro. Yeah. So, yeah, it's simply a way. It's simply a way of thinking, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's not being negative. It's like you said, Stephen, it's survival, right? And it's not just survival, you know. I mean, we could scale it down where it's not, you know, trying to survive and live, but just trying to reduce loss. I mean, I've got this $5,000 drone in my backpack, and it fell on the ground in the backpack. I wasn't even flying it. How crappy is that, you know? And it's like, you know, I've always touted that I don't carry my bag in my drone in a hard case, because if it were to be in a hard case and I were to set it, I would have a tendency to set it down harder. You know, I wouldn't throw it, but I would have a tendency to set it down harder, like if it were in a Pelican case. Versus if it's in a softback, right? I will always put it down gently. It just so happened that it fell out of my bag and just smacked the ground pretty darn hard, you know. Granted, it was only from maybe, you know, I'm 5'4.5". It was only from maybe 4 foot 10 inches off the deck at the highest that it fell to the ground, onto the concrete pavement, driveway, parking garage. Yeah, I basically just flung it onto my back and it fell over, or fell out with everything. And my mobile hotspot, everything was on the ground, and I was so irritated. But these things happen, you know. I mean, you can't prevent every bad thing. I mean, otherwise we'd be living in a plastic bubble, right? But we go out there, we put ourselves out in the world. We DriveStream, or at least I do, right? But I do the things that I feel are necessary to help me not cause an accident, not be in an accident. I'm only driving 55 miles per hour. I'm in the slow lane, right? I'm not messing with the thing. Sure, I look at the chat every once in a while, because I've also figured out a way to have the chat on an older phone. And yes, I'm using my primary cell phone because the color quality is much better. The video quality, I believe, is a much better quality, and I'd rather have that for you. And it's only 20 minutes of someone not being able to try to call me, you know. And I'm not that important of a person where, hey, you need to do this now, right? So, DFC Drone RD, hi, thanks for joining. Appreciate you hanging out. just talking about a little bit Murphy's Law, how it applies, to, in many situations, especially in drone flying, especially when in drone flying. It happens. I mean, you've got this flying camera, right? That's expensive. It's got gimbals, it's got crazy zoom, it's got very good color quality, and the worst thing that it could happen is it crashes on the ground and breaks, right? It doesn't work anymore. And so from a standpoint of, that which can go wrong will go wrong. That's why so many measures are put into place to prevent loss of the drone, loss of life, reduction of people getting hurt by the drone, property damage. And so that's why we don't fly over people. The laws exist so we don't fly over people, right? Rules exist so that we do things in a safe manner. We don't fly above 400 feet AGL, if it's restricted airspace or controlled airspace or airspace in general that's shared with manned aircraft, right? We observe those rules because you fly your drone wrong, guess what can possibly happen? Guess what could possibly happen? You could possibly fly your drone into a plane, into an engine, and loss of life could occur. So rules exist for a reason. SOPs exist for a reason. In the military, we always used to say SOPs are written in blood because somebody did get hurt. And so leadership said, we're going to do this to ensure that that doesn't happen again. And sometimes, you can't prevent everything. I remember in a story in the class prior to mine, a guy drowned in the pool doing drown proofing drills. And it was just one of those things where it's like, what was the cause of that? Now, the dude aspirated on his own vomit. He vomited while he was in the pool, and he didn't want to vomit in the pool while he was underwater. So he basically tried to, I guess, re-inhale it or re-swallow it or something like that, So that happened. Did we stop doing that drill, that training? No, we did it in our class. We just, I guess what they did was whenever we did those evolutions, we did not do it on a full stomach, or right after lunch. We did it after lunch. Because not only would we eat our lunch as fast as possible, we had to run to the pool, and then we got in the water. And, maybe they said, let's help them get all the puke out, so let's make them run, do some exercise, and then they can get in the pool, right? As you can see, the agricultural drone business in the United States is profitable. DFC drone, I am not familiar with the drone agricultural business in the US. Thank you for that comment. It's I presume that it is. Use of drones to spray the crops with, I guess, pesticides or proteins to make the vegetables better. A drone like that needs to be able to carry its, the weight of the water. So that would certainly be a heavy lift drone. And then how much can it actually spray while it's flying around? But yeah, for sure. I've seen, I think somebody did an experiment years ago where they put a chainsaw on a drone just to see if they could work it, But the rotation of the blades along with the rotation of the chainsaw chain on it, to include, once it makes contact with the wood, you've got these other forces going against each other, The only thing that I could see right now that's in place, I don't think that drone chainsaw concept came to fruition, but the drone pressure washing business is kind of a big deal now also. In fact, one of my company mates from the academy, he reached out to me recently on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I see that you flew the Aqualine drone." And he's like, "We should talk one of these days." So I gave him my phone number, and we'll see if he calls. You know, all I do is fly it. I am not a pressure washing drone pilot. You know, I was asked to possibly be part of that cadre, but I would rather film the drone flying around versus flying the drone and pressure washing windows. I'm not the window washer. That's funny. Have you seen that TV show, the IT? I think it's called IT Crowd. It's a British comedy about two IT dudes and their boss Jen, who is not an IT person, but she became the head of their department. It's funny. I like it. All right, Stephen. They use concentrated forms of the chemicals / fertilizer in the AG drones, in the agricultural drones. Yeah, no, for sure. And great concept, you know. It could probably spray the drones or the crops faster, cover more area using something like that. Oh, why is there a giant truck in the way up ahead? I am going to turn left here instead, because I don't want to get caught behind that on this road, although I might still get caught behind that. But yeah, Murphy's Law. Everything can possibly go wrong when we fly our drones, and that's why we do the steps to ensure that our drones are flown safely and are maintained appropriately so that they will continue to fly again. Like in the agricultural drone business, all that chemical could be corrosive to the plastics, metals that are on the drones, the electronics, you know. So not only is there a huge maintenance piece, and not many people think about that, because, I mean, our car, how do we maintain a car? For those of you that are, gearheads, you turn the wrenches, right? You turn wrenches and you maintain your car as appropriate. Or if you're like me, that I don't really have a care, I like to drive, and that's about it. I don't really care to maintain the car. I just take it to Beach Ford to take care of the job for me, you know. That's a better use of my time, to just delegate that task to somebody else who can also get it done much faster than I could possibly get it done because I would have to also learn the skills of doing that particular task, which I don't have an inclination for or desire to learn those skills. Oh, looks like they cleared out this lot, building new homes. So I see we got some new guests here as well. Gaius Reaction Vlog, thanks for hanging out. Did I see Mudball on there? Don, good morning. How are you today? I guess that truck didn't turn, or they double turned. What did you say? Tinatemba? Is that an acronym for something? Explain. Define. But Tinatemba, it sounds cool. Or was that just a take care host? Thank you very much, Gaius. Appreciate you hanging out and joining for a little bit. Tinatemba. It sounds kind of cool. It sounds acronym-ish and important. It's something that we should all know. Tinatemba. All right, I'm pulling into my parking space here, and then we'll go on inside in just a moment. It's a slightly overcast day. Why are you just standing there? What an idiot. Standing in the middle of the road. On your phone even. You're not even live streaming. You're just standing there looking at your phone. Right? It's funny. All right. Windows in. All right, folks. What do we got going on here? Shen, in law school, we do not say for smart people only. Instead, we say sufficient in form and substance. Thanks for the tour. I'll be here in the background, Paul. Oh, thank you very much. Tinetemba is from an episode of IT Crowd. Tinetemba. That's how they said it. Tinetemba. What was that from? I'm going to have to find that again. Tinetemba. I cannot remember it. That's awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's watched the IT Crowd. What's the emergency phone number from 999? Oh man, I know the tune in my head. It ends with 3. All right. Well, I'm at work now, folks. Appreciate you hanging out. The countdown episode. Oh, was that the very last one? The very last episode where it was like super weird? Tinetemba. That sounds, I remember, it sounds familiar. Tinetemba. All right, I'm going to go pull that up on my computer later. I think it's actually still on Netflix, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So, well, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Murphy's Law. You know, do what you need to do to ensure that... What is this fool doing? Oh, they're looking at the pillar for construction behind me for some reason. But appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you so much. The countdown episode. Yes, Don. I'll be watching that later on, bro. Thank you. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, I hope Murphy's Law doesn't bite you too hard. You know, survive as you need to is a function to attract traffic. You've seen it too, Shen. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to have to review that. And who knows, attract traffic as in social media traffic, like YouTube traffic? Or are we talking about just business traffic? Because... All right. I'm going to think about that. So thanks for a lot for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate you all. Maybe I'll get on later on. In fact, I will most likely get on later. I would like to find... I just received the Nuentor weather station that they wanted me to test. It's not even on their website yet. So I'm like, wow, this really is a true test of this piece of equipment. So I'm pretty excited about unboxing it and then just setting it up for, you know, to see how this works. Give it a 30-day test, maybe even longer, you know, review every 30 days kind of thing. I'll come up with a plan on how I will review this and how happy and satisfied I am with this particular product, because it's not even on the market yet. So this is pretty cool for me that they asked me to, you know, conduct a test of this new weather station that they sent. So until then, I'll unbox it later on. Have a great day. I'll see you this afternoon. All right. Bye, YouTube. Okay.